everyone, what's up? This is Simon from the Ionic Academy, and in this quick one I will show you how to implement local notifications inside your Ionic 4 app. So we've done this before with Ionic 3 and just some of the parts changed, especially the Cordova plugin was updated and is currently in version 0.9 beta, I think. So let's take a look at how we can schedule those notifications. I've already created a blank new Ionic 4 app, and the next thing we're gonna do is install the Ionic native local notifications plugin. So make sure your Ionic CLI is updated because previously we had to use @beta for those Ionic native plugins, but as of now we don't need this anymore. We just need to make sure that we got the import for our app module right. So maybe we can already do this in the background. So what we will need is local notifications, and then it's finished, so we can already do the Ionic Cordova plugin for local notifications as well, and we will take a closer look at this repository also in a sec. But for now, let's add local notifications from @Ionic native local notifications, and then just like always add it to the array of your providers in the app module. Yes, and I made the mistake we shouldn't do, so go ahead and add ngx at the end, which is needed if you use those plugins with Ionic 4 and Angular currently. Alright, so now let's take a look at our homepage, and because this is pretty boring, I will just bring in a bunch of buttons in order to get some functionality. What we want to do is we want to schedule different types of notifications, and sorry, I have to change the title because I can't live with a default blank title. What we want to do is, first of all, schedule a notification in the future, just like in 5 seconds or whatever. It could be in 10 hours, could be in 5 weeks. So this is a one-time notification we want to schedule. Then we get into recurring notifications, and we will do this twice. So once with a syntax for repeating every minute. Maybe not the most smart thing to do in your app. Please think about something like this before you do it. And then something repeating on a daily basis, which comes in more handy if you think about like meditation apps or drink water apps that give you a little notification in the morning to do something. And finally, we also got a button to get all notifications, because we can also, interesting tag, we can also get all scheduled and already sent notifications. And therefore we will build a super tiny list right here. Come on, what is wrong today? Ion item. And then we will iterate over a few elements of a scheduled array that we want to fill. Of course, we could also do this automatically, but having a button and doing this, I don't know, it looks a bit nicer. So there might be a bit more text, so let's wrap the text. And then let's print out the ID of a notification that you can actually use at a later point to cancel a notification. And then we also got the title, which is exactly what it sounds like. And then maybe also add the trigger. This could also be the date at which the notification occurs, but we will mostly use trigger. So those are different fields, and just take a look, or maybe we can do this as well. Add the data inside the actual object that we got back from, come on, what is wrong with my eye today? With the get all. So now we need all those functions in our home page. And we also need two other things. Yeah, we should save this. That makes sense. I'm not gonna open the Ionic serve, because if we're using Cordova plugins, I said this many times before, we need to test the functionality on a device, or in this case, a simulator works also great. And also, there's a difference between local notifications and real push notifications, which we have to talk about in a second. Before, let me get some import right, otherwise we will mess up all the things. So we will need the platform. You might be wondering why, but I will show you why. Then of course we need the local notifications package, local notifications, and then we need the alert controller. We don't need it, but it's a nice behavior that we want to implement in here. So alert controller. All right, maybe let me just bring in the most easy helper function, which is showing an alert. So just Ionic 4 basic stuff, because we want to subscribe to the events of local notification. And there are multiple events. I can open this. Let me bring this in real quick. So if you take a look at the plugin, which you actually should always do when you're using Ionic native wrappers, because those pages here contain a lot more information than the actual page on the Ionic native package, which is just a wrapper around the API of this plugin. So somewhere here, what was I looking for? I forgot it along the way, of course. I was looking for something like trigger. No, that's a pretty bad one to go. That's the events. So these are the events that you can subscribe to, which are add, trigger, click, clear, cancel, update, clear all, cancel all. So quite a lot of events. We will just do it for trigger and click. Trigger means the notification was triggered and sent to the user. Click, the user actually clicked on the notification. In the default state, the local notification that we schedule won't be visible if the app is already open. We can also change this so it comes up at the top, but we will keep it like this for now. And also, if we just open the app, when we are outside and receiving the notification, nothing happens. So what we want to do is in both cases display a little alert controller so we see that we actually reacted to the click event and also to the trigger event of the notification. So therefore we will use this, but first of all, why sometimes I just make a dot and I don't know, the code completes already. Okay, whatever. So this is the reason I was importing the platform. If we want to subscribe to the local notifications, we should also make sure that the platform is ready, and then we can say on click, and then previously this was a promise and now you can see it's an observable. So in here we get the data back, and same now for trigger. Completely the same syntax, and in here we can now do the magic. And because well, maybe let's skip this for a second. Let's go to our schedule notification for now. So this is the most basic way to schedule a local notification. You just go ahead and say schedule, and then you create a nice object with a lot of properties. And at this point there are, can I get this back? Yeah. There are actually a lot of things documented on here. So you could have something like a progress bar, which looks like this. You could have different icons. You can have summarize of different notifications. You can have grouping actually. And what I also liked a lot was the, yeah, there it is, actions with an action button. And this actually looks pretty much like iOS. And now the problem, I was not able with the current version of 0.9 beta to implement most of those things, especially for iOS. So these grouping things or whatever is going on here, grouping, progress, might work for Android, but it's definitely right now not working for iOS, and I'm not sure if any of this will actually be supported on iOS, just like having a custom icon. So normally iOS uses the icon of the application, and therefore this is actually possible on iOS, but again, this was not working for me in this case. I don't know, maybe you can make it work. If you can make it work, definitely let me know, so I can update this video again. So much fun always updating the videos. But anyway, we will focus on what's working, and this is schedule notification and recurring notification. So now to schedule, you're gonna have to pass in an ID, make it most of the time unique, that would be great, in order to cancel the notification later. Then you need a title, like whatever, attention, and of course some text, Simon's notification. In your case, you can use something else like Simon if you want to. And for the data, this is now something interesting because we can pass in my hidden message. This is some data that is not immediately visible. So those parts will be visible at the top of your device. And this is just something that we retrieve inside these blocks and do whatever we want. So for example, if you want to go to a specific page, you might have something like page and then whatever jump link, jump to me, or just general information. Let's have an action or so. And then you resolve this up here and know, okay, the action, whatever was received, so I'm gonna route the user to another page. So that's an idea for this. Also works great with real push notifications, but that's a different story. So then we gonna set the trigger for this notification, and I will just say this should occur in 5 seconds. And the unit in the documentation, it says like this seconds, and then you will run into a TypeScript error. So what you need is, or maybe I will show you why it's not working. So if you pass a string, your code becomes like this. Then you can, with Visual Studio Code, dive into unit and take a look why. So this expects an EL local notification trigger unit, which is actually an enum with a string, but in TypeScript we get an error. So what we do is we will just import the notification trigger unit dot second, and there we go, error is fixed. And it actually looks pretty good as well instead of the second string. So why should we type second if we can have an epic long string like this? So now the notification should come up in 5 seconds. And just to give you an example, I have this in the related code below this video as well. You could also do it just like this with add. So in or add, both would work for the one-time notification. This is just using a date object. And then we could also say something like foreground true. So it would be visible even if the web is open, but we'll leave this out for now. Now, as we know that we send some data with our notification, we can also go back to our cool observables up here and get the message from result.data, which is this value. And we need to check if this is defined. And then we will use result.data, my data, and otherwise we will use an empty string. And then go ahead and show your alert with result.title, result.text, and the actual message. And same for the trigger. Maybe I'll put some console logs, because once we run this on a device, it's actually pretty boring. So then we got some more things we can inspect once we're ready. So go ahead, trigger, and then we know which of those occurred. Okay, great. Schedule notification, observables are ready. Let's wrap up with the last 3 missing functions. First one being recurring notifications. Let's pick a different ID, and also let's make this recurring, and this is Simon's recurring notification. We don't really need data in that case anyway. And for the trigger, let's make this pretty annoying and say every notification trigger unit minute. I'm not sure if second actually works. I don't want to crash my device. If you're adventurous, maybe give it a try with second and see what happens. But if your device is completely infunctional afterwards, it is not my fault. Alright, so this will schedule the recurring notification and it should occur every minute, hopefully. And this is also a pretty interesting view that we don't need yet. So to repeat it on a daily basis, let's make it this and let's call it good morning. Well, it's actually already noon, but I don't care that this is code something epic today. Alright, and the trigger for this is now, again, a bit different syntax. So you see, you can use it in a lot different ways, like in with a unit, add with a real date, every, or every with an object. And for this one, we will use an hour and minute as well. So right now I have to calculate a bit. Let's make this 50 whatever. And for the hour also 11. Well, it will be wrong definitely. Because I need to deploy this, I need to build the app and deploy it to a device. So I'm just trying to figure out when we will actually see the notification, but I will maybe fix those dates again. It doesn't really matter. It's something you should also do. So whenever you watch the video, make sure to do this like a few minutes in the future so you can test out your notification. And finally, to get all of our notifications, we should use the scheduled array and then add it in the beginning as an empty array. And now say this dot local notifications get all, and you see you can actually also get the schedule, the trigger, the IDs. So a lot of things, and most of them are not really shown on the Ionic native package page. So that's what I meant in the beginning. So then we will get back result, which is an array. So we can say this dot scheduled equals result. No complaints, sounds great. If you take a look at it again, we will get a promise with an array of those local notification objects. Always a good idea to step into the code at some point. So now I'm pretty sure I can move this more to the future, and we're done so far. So let's build it for Android or iOS, whatever you prefer, and let's take a look at it on the device. All right, here's the app. So let's schedule a daily notification because my time is running out and the notification will already come in a minute. I don't want to deploy it once again. I already did it a few times. So what you saw is, first of all, that we got this dialog for the permission on iOS automatically when we do the first notification. We can also schedule this, no, not schedule. We can also trigger this at a later point in our app or in the beginning. That's up to us. And what we see as well, thank God, our notification was triggered and I was just a minute or just 20 seconds early in the day app. So here is the trigger object, and I'm pretty sure right now my face is again blocking this. Well, here's my face, should be fine. So what we see in here, can we go here a bit better, is a lot of information, the ID that we set, the text and the title, and also the trigger for our app. So if I now click on get all, we also see the same information that this is still scheduled. Now let's set one for every minute as well and get them all. Now I'm confused, I'm clicking in this view, but I have to type on my device. So now that is also triggered and we just have to wait for a minute until the notification arrives. But in the meantime, let's also try the schedule one from top and also move the app to the bottom. Yes, these are a few of my apps. And now 5 seconds pass and we should see, or did I do a longer time? I'm actually confused and not sure at the same time. Trigger in 5 seconds. Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, and the recurring message. But those are all the... Come on, I just want to see the other notification. How to move this. It's interesting that I get the notifications on my Apple Watch, which I'm putting away now because, yeah, there is one of those notifications. Maybe now I can receive them when my watch is not connected. Yes, there we go. Great, Simon. Not sure why they only arrive on my Apple Watch. Not really what they should do. So, let's take a closer look. This one is attention, Simon's notification, and oops, how can I move this? Now it's closed. Whatever. Attention, Simon's notification. That's the one, the easy one. And now this is not updating the view anymore. Great job, Reflector. Thanks for the app. Whatever. And in there we got the data for my hidden message. So if we happen to click on this message, which is attention, Simon's notification, we should be able to get this hidden message in our alert view that we bring up, and see here my hidden message. This is. So now we have achieved what we wanted to do, why you came here. We're able to schedule notifications for a later point with a different syntax to trigger recurring with units and with a timestamp, and pass some payload data with it. And this now works across iOS and Android pretty perfectly. Everything else that we can use, like the action buttons, the icons, the grouping, yes, thanks for more notifications, all of this is not working 100% on iOS, so be careful if you use those functionality. Make sure to test them out. Maybe if you just target Android, then it's no problem and you can use them. So in that case, again, go to the GitHub page of the Cordova plugin, which contains a lot of information on how to use the plugin. That's it for today. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more great videos, and check out the ionicacademy.com if you want to learn everything Ionic, and also right now everything Ionic 4 as well. So I'll see you inside the Academy in the next video. Everywhere, enjoy the day and take care.